Good evening and welcome to this edition of Resource PNG. Kula Gold, a gold development company with an advanced stage project on Woodlark Island, Milne Bay Province, is moving towards the production stage. The mining lease was signed by Mining Minister Byron Chan on July 4th. That was followed by registration of the mining lease with the Mineral Resources Authority and payment of security bond and annual rental fees. It has now achieved all of the regulatory approvals necessary to begin the development phase of the Woodlark Island Gold project. And environmental impact statements and other community aspects have also been reviewed by the Department of Environment and Conservation, with an environment permit granted in February. We interviewed Kula's chairman, Mr. David Frecker, on the project's latest developments.
Tonight on the show we have Mr. David Frecker, the chairman of Kula Gold. Thank you for coming onto the show. Welcome to Resource PNG.
My pleasure, Leanne. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you. So the MRA has, after 8 long years, granted Kula Gold with a mining lease.
That's correct.
They stated that the project delivers favorable return at the current gold price. Please clarify the favorable returns that the mine can produce.
Right. Well, the gold price has been a challenge for us because when we did our feasibility study, it was higher. It was at prices of about $1,400 to $1,600 US dollars an ounce, and now recently it's been down to about $1,300 or even lower. But the important thing is that when we did our what we call our pit optimization studies, that's the studies to determine how best to extract the gold from the pits, mining pits, that was done by the mining engineers using a gold price of US dollars 1,200 per ounce, and we're still well above that level. So even at current gold prices, our project does show on its economic analysis that it is viable and it has a positive net present value.
Okay. So you mentioned the feasibility studies completed in September 2012.
Yes, right.
They defined a 2004 JORC resource of 2.1 million ounces,
yes,
and an ore reserve of 766,000 ounces, based on an optimized gold price of 1,200 US dollars per ounce.
Yes.
This would generate how much in terms of monetary value based on the first production of the mine?
Well, it depends what the gold price is when we sell the gold. The important gold price for us is not the gold price now, but the gold price in about 2 or 3 years' time when we commence production of our gold. Now, at a gold price of $1,400 per ounce, we had a net present value. That's the value of the gold production net of the costs and the interest charges. The net present value then was in excess of $100 million at that gold price.
So in February 2014, the environment permit was granted to Kula Gold. How will Kula be managing its tailings disposal?
We're going to use what is called deep sea tailings placement. That's one of 2 tailings disposal options we examined in our feasibility study. The other option was a tailings storage facility on land, and we presented both options to the government, to the Department of Environment and Conservation, but with a strong preference for deep sea tailings placement. And the reason for that is that we have an almost ideal situation for using that means of tailings disposal on the north side of the island. The seabed goes down rapidly to a depth of about 4,000 metres. There's a natural underwater gully in which we can dispose of the tailings through a pipeline, and our studies show that the tailings deposits will slide down the slope to a depth of about 2,000 to 4,000 metres, and should not cause any future trouble. The alternative of storing the tailings on land had a number of serious problems, in particular the very high rainfall on the island, which is about 4 metres a year of rain, and the possibility of leaching into the groundwater, and also, even though it's not a high seismic area, the possibility of an earthquake. So we, the company, decided that deep sea tailings placement was the better option, and we're pleased to say that the government has accepted that.
Okay, thank you. So being in the Woodlark Island, you'll obviously be surrounded by the locals and creating job opportunities for them. What type of programs or training programs do you have, or community initiatives do you have planned?
Well, if I may use this opportunity to just say, we have enjoyed tremendous support from the Woodlark Islanders. They have been very supportive of us in our exploration and feasibility stages, and we've had detailed negotiations with them about compensation and relocation, and they are certainly looking forward to the start of the project so that we can provide them with employment. During the exploration phase, they were employed on the drilling rigs, and during the construction phase, as we will be employing local labour as much as possible, and we will be we've already conducted some training programs to upskill the local villagers to work on the construction, and we will be doing further training as we get nearer to the construction period.
Stay tuned to Resource PNG. We'll be back after these short messages. Welcome back to the show. Kula has had its mining lease approved for the Woodlark Island Gold project. It will have a 36-month window to construct and commission the proposed $160 million project. The lease was awarded after a very detailed review by the Mineral Resources Authority, including the project's financial viability. In this segment, we speak to Kula Gold's chairman, Mr. David Frecker, on how Kula plans on constructing and commissioning the project within what is considered a rather tight time frame.
Okay, so you have received the mining lease and are about to go into development.
Yes.
What are some of the development aspects of the mine?
The project as a whole involves 3 mining pits. We will need to open those up successively and mine them, but at the same time we have to build our processing plant, which will be in a central part of the island, within easy trucking distance of those 3 pits. And so they're the 2 main parts of the development, but there will be additional facilities required. First of all, access roads, and then most importantly there's the tailings disposal pipeline, which has to run across a corridor of land to the north coast, and we expect to receive a grant of a mining easement for that purpose.
Okay. I understand that you have a 36-month window in which you have to begin soon.
Yes.
Can you tell us where Kula Gold is placed in this?
Yes. Look, the 36 months which is specified in the mining lease was something we agreed to with the Mineral Resources Authority. They were keen that we be held to the mark, as it were, that we did not just sit on the mining lease, but we got on with the job. The 36 months is a tight but achievable period, and the actual construction period in our feasibility study was about 14 or 15 months, but before we can start that, we do have to arrange our financing, and that's the challenge for us over the next 12 months.
Okay, thank you. How are you looking at financing the project? What will the debt to equity ratio be? And have you any finances for the project?
Well, first of all, we start with the total capital cost for the development, which was estimated to be $160 million, that's Australian dollars. And that will be partly funded by equity and partly funded by debt. The equity will have to come from Kula Gold. Kula Gold putting the money into its subsidiary, which is Woodlark Mining Limited, the PNG company which holds the mining lease. How Kula Gold raises those equity funds is something we're working on. We can go back to the stock market and raise money through a share issue, but we're also talking to a number of potential major investors who may be prepared to put money into the company to help fund the equity. On the debt side, we had extensive discussions with a range of banks 12 or 15 months ago. We received indicative proposals from 6 or 7 banks, including a number of the major Australian banks. Those discussions were put on hold until we received the mining lease, but we will be renewing those discussions in the next few months.
Kula is presently valued at a seemingly light $13 million. When production kicks in, how much will the operating value of the mine increase according to the estimates?
Oh, that's a very difficult question, Leanne, and it all depends upon the market perceptions of our project and the risks involved in our project, but that ultimately is a factor of the gold price. So I can't give a precise answer to that, but we would expect the company to be considerably revalued as we come nearer to production. As long as the gold price holds up at least at current levels, and if it goes back up to $1,400 or $1,600 an ounce, the company will be that will be reflected in a substantial increase in the value of the project.
Stay with us on Resource PNG. We'll be back for the final segment of this interview with Mr. David Frecker after these short messages. Thanks for your company and welcome back to Resource PNG. Woodlark Island is located 600 kilometers east of Port Moresby, and the receipt of the mining lease secures the company's title over the Woodlark Island Gold Project for 20 years with the ability to extend for a further 10 years. This is a significant milestone for Kula and confirms that the PNG government is committed and supportive of a gold processing plant on Woodlark. The 9-year project is based around 3 open-pit mining areas. There is also upside potential through conversion of inferred resources and numerous nearby exploration targets within a short distance of the proposed process plant location. Mr. David Frecker explains what these inferred resources and their value-added potential to the production of the mine is.
There is also an upside potential through the conversion of inferred resources and numerous nearby exploration targets within a short distance of the proposed process plant location. Please clarify these inferred resources and their value-added potential to the production of the mine.
Right. Well, there's 2 things. There's even within our mineral resource of 2.1 million ounces, there are inferred and indicated resources which we cannot reach with our current pit designs, and that's just a factor of economics. The gold is too deep, or it's dispersed, but we already know it's there. But the second part of the answer to the question is that surrounding the project areas, there are a number of very prospective exploration targets, and some of those have already had some drilling done on them. We are currently, or we have just finished, what we call a helimag survey of some of those targets. That's a helicopter survey endeavouring to identify magnetic anomalies, which is a geological indication of the presence of gold. And we are pleased to say, and we've just recently announced, that helimag program was initially very successful in that it not only confirmed 2 targets but identified some additional prospective targets. We have extended that helimag program by another with another 1,500 metres of infill surveys, and we are just waiting for the results of that. And we have also mobilised a drilling rig from Alatau. It's already on the island. It's already commenced drilling to drill some of these targets. So we're hoping that that will lead to an identification of some further prospective gold resources. It may need some additional exploration drilling, almost certainly will, but the geologists tell me there's more gold there.
Okay.
But coming back to the first issue with the known gold, if we can find additional gold near to the pits, we can actually then plan to enlarge the pits, and with a larger pit, particularly the main pit at Kula, we can go deeper, and we will be able to extract some of the inferred and indicated gold that we know is resources which we believe are down at depth.
Okay, thank you. So Kula Gold Chief Executive Officer Stuart Pether said recently that, and I quote, "The HeliMag program has confirmed the company's view that the project's current resource base could be expanded with further focused exploration beneath the thin overlying cover sediments." Please clarify this statement.
Right. The geological problem on Woodlark Island is that the gold-bearing stratas are covered by a layer of, in geological terms, a later strata of this limestone, Kurawina limestone. And that's why it's very difficult to identify where the gold is from just surface exploration. And why this HeliMag program, trying to locate areas of magnetic anomaly, is one of the techniques that the geologists use. And once having identified an anomaly, you then have to drill down to see whether and test whether there is gold in the stratas below.
Okay, thank you. Finally, Woodlark Island Gold Project is in rather remote location. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages of the location?
There certainly are advantages and disadvantages, Leanne. The advantage is certainly the same advantage that the Lihir project has, in that if you are operating on an island, you can control the influx of people, and that is good both for the mining company and for the local people. And you can you have easy access because you're surrounded by water on all sides. It's much easier access than a deposit in the highlands, such as Porgera. The disadvantages are just the remote locality, the remoteness from supply centres, and from population centres where you might need to go to get trained labour force. But there is already an airstrip on the island. It's interesting, it was built by the US Army during the war, and it must have been built very well because it's still very serviceable. And we do not have regular flights, we rely upon charter flights, but when we ramp up in construction, we'll probably have regular charter flights from either from the Papua New Guinea mainland, or possibly we might have flights in and out of Cairns.
Okay. Before we wrap things up, can you tell us briefly about your current exploration?
The current exploration? Yes. Well, I suppose I've almost answered that question already, because it's the HeliMag program and the subsequent drilling. The subsequent drilling, we do not have any results yet, so I really can't comment on that. The drilling has to be completed, and then the drill core has to be sent away for assay work. So it will be some weeks before we can, or 3 or 4 weeks at least, before we can announce any results from that drilling program.
Okay.
Woodlark Mining Limited has relied very heavily on the support of the local people, as I said, but also I'd like to acknowledge that the very good support we've had from the Mineral Resources Authority during throughout the permitting process, and also from the provincial governor, Titus Phillimon, and finally from the Minister for Mining, the Honourable Byron Chan, who granted us the mining lease, of course. Okay. And we're very grateful for that broad support we've had from both leaders and community in Papua New Guinea.
Thank you, sir, so much for your time.
My pleasure, Leanne.
Well, that's all we have for you on tonight's Resource PNG episode. If you want to know more about the program, do email us on this email address. That's resourcepng@emtv.com.pg, or check MTV online. That's www.emtv.com.pg, and go to our Resource PNG page. You can also check out our page on Facebook. Until the same time next week, have a pleasant evening.